Hi guys, welcome to Tarot in the Dark. My name is Tori. So tonight the ancestors have a message. We are going to do a pick a card, and this is going to be what unhealthy attachment needs releasing. This is another one of the Inside Out episodes where we go deep within in order to pull whatever is hiding out. And we are doing that by exposing those roots. If you watch any of my other readings, our ancestors are always speaking about the roots of the issue. So the mission here, the intent is that we dig that root up and figure out exactly where it's been planted, and from there plant, uproot, and replant in fresh soil so that you can build something different. Okay, so I am doing a little spring cleaning, so if the setup looks a little different, that's the reason why. I'm always trying to figure it out. I'm always trying to figure out like what looks good. Okay guys, so let's see. For pile number one, what unhealthy attachment needs releasing? What unhealthy attachment for pile number one needs to be released? Oh, rage. All right. Wow. I love, you guys hear me say this all the time, I love when I start the readings and the messages begin to come through. I'm immediately getting channeled messages and I love them. For pile number two, okay, we had these two pop out. I'm going to put them back in and we'll see if either want to come out. But feeling safe and self-sabotage came out for pile number two. Let's put them back and see if we can get one card here. Just one card, please. Ooh, I love that. Okay, pile number two. What unhealthy attachment needs to be released? Pile number two, please. Okay. Ooh, etheric cords. Wow. So maybe those other two cards have something to do with it. Feeling safe and self-sabotaging. All right. Urzuli Dantor. And this is Medusa for pile number one. For pile number three, what unhealthy attachment needs to be released? Alrighty, for pile number three, we have worthiness. Oh, and this is Atite. I always mispronounce their names. Atite. I'm like, ancestors, help me. Okay, pile number four. What unhealthy attachment needs to be released? Okay. Oh, the wounded healer. Okay. Awesome. So let's see if I can zoom in. I love the bottom of the deck. Look at this shine. So for all piles, releasing this unhealthy attachment, the specific unhealthy attachment that comes up for your pile is going to support you in being able to actually shine. And I'm hearing shine in your authenticity, okay? Being grounded and rooted in who you are so that you can shine without resistance. Okay, guys, so my recommendation is if you have headphones in to turn them down. I am going to tune the sound bowl and I'm going to zoom in so that you can see. Alrighty, so for pile number one, we have Rage with Medusa. For pile number two, we have Urzuli Dantor with etheric cords. For pile number three, we have worthiness. For pile number four, we have, Atete is the worthiness. And then Sekhmet is the wounded healer. Okay, I'm going to tune my sound bowl and hopefully you'll be able to focus in on the card of your choosing. And when I'm done with the sound bowl, feel free to open your eyes if they're closed, pick your card, and we'll go from there. Okay, feel free to open your eyes and pick your pile, and I'll see you on the other side. Hi, pile number one. If you chose the Medusa card with rage, this is your reading from your ancestors in regards to what unhealthy attachment needs to be released. Okay, so immediately what I'm picking up on is an unhealthy attachment to someone. There's someone in particular that, it's an energy of someone is what they're saying. This energy shows its face in several areas of your life. So say, for example, you're attached to like eating, okay? Let's just use this as an example. If you're attached to eating, this attachment to eating may make you feel seen, valued, or valuable in some way, right? So when you eat, you may have a sense of comfort and feeling like this is where I belong. This is beneficial for me. This is good for me. It could also be the same thing with like schmecks, right? You may have an encounter and think like, oh my gosh, this is overwhelming. I love this. I want to stay in this euphoric feeling. And what's coming through is that this attachment to a desire to be filled with these intense feelings or emotions. It's like a high. That's what I'm picking up on. Some type of a high or an intense energy that you are attached to, which gives you this euphoric feeling. And in this feeling of euphoria, you kind of forget everything else that is taking place. There's an imbalance in your divine feminine energy. I can already see right away. I was picking up on that right when we started shuffling. And there's something about change where there's like you're really attached to this. You know that this attachment is outdated. So again, going back to what they keep showing me, this euphoria feeling, maybe desiring and overindulging in things that you know are no longer beneficial for you. But the reason why it's showing up as rage is because what happens is when you don't get this, whatever this is. Okay, so imagine, I'm just going to use this as an example. Imagine that you're addicted to food and you, for some reason, don't have enough money to be able to buy, like say you eat McDonald's every day and on Friday you can't eat McDonald's because you've spent your money and you can't afford it. It's almost like you become enraged when you can't have that. And there's something about, and this may not be food, may not be schmecks, may not be drugs, may not be alcohol, it may not be anything like that. Whatever this attachment is, though, it gives you the feeling of validity. It validates you in some way. And when you don't have that, you react in a way that is expressed as rage. So this is why they're saying that there's an imbalance in your divine feminine energy, is because when you don't get this thing, you may act out as a baby. Okay, you may find yourself overreacting, being extremely sensitive, extremely affected by circumstances that may be minor on another day, but on this day they're extremely overwhelming and you feel as if you just can't handle it. It's like an addictive pattern. And when you're not able to get this, you may feel enraged. What's interesting is they're showing me like someone who may have had an unhealthy, like maybe you've trauma bonded with people in your life, okay? Roll with me, because guys, this is how the readings are. You start off, you're like, what the heck is going on here? And then by the end, you're like, oh my God, it makes perfect sense. At least that's how I feel. I'm like, what are we doing? But then by the end, I'm like, oh, this makes perfect sense. Thanks, guys. Our team is always going to come through. They're always going to show up. They're always going to give you advice. And they're always going to make sure that everything that's given is for your highest good. They have never failed me. Never. in my own life, just in my personal readings, I've never been failed by the cards, okay? And I think I'm telling you this because I think you have a hard time trusting people. I think you have a hard time trusting yourself, and that bleeds into your desire or lack thereof to trust others, right? So what's coming through is that, when you trauma bond with people, you bond with people who have similar traumas, and you tend to feed off of each other. Almost like, reminds me of like a succulent plant. You put water in there, the succulent's just going to absorb it. It's just going to suck it up. It's going to literally do what its name is. And so it's almost like you find yourself mirroring, or reflecting is probably a better term, like reflecting the people that you have experiences with rather than establishing your own identity, or versus establishing your own identity. And so there's something in regards to trauma bonding with people or with someone, because I was seeing someone in particular, but then they started showing me that this is bleeding into other things, meaning this same energy shows up in several areas of your life, but it's this one major thing that is, or one major person that's kind of like the main energy. And when you break that energy, then the rest of the attachments will immediately like dissipate. It's like they don't have any power when you don't give your power to this main energy, this main source. So it's like, imagine you have an outlet in your house that you plug something into, and that outlet is the control for all the other outlets in your house. Well, this one energy, this one person here is like the hub for this attachment. And once you detach from this one unhealthy individual, you'll notice all the other unhealthy individuals in your life will begin to kind of fall off, because you're going to have a recognition of the unhealthy attachment that you had with the major like culprit here, and it's going to allow you to release those other energies. So let me get back to what they're showing. So you're trauma bonding with someone, and imagine as you trauma bond with this person, you kind of become like whoever that person desires you to be in order to fulfill them. In the process of fulfilling them, you lose yourself. And when you lose yourself, you have like this recognition of like something's off, something's not right, but you don't necessarily recognize that it's because of your unhealthy attachment to this one person that you have had all these other unhealthy attachments, including the unhealthy attachment that you have to yourself. And once you're able to see that, like imagine that person, this main person, the hub that you've trauma bonded with, imagine they leave you, right? They leave you and they're like, oh, I don't want to be with you anymore. They go off and they want to be with somebody else. They get with somebody else. You're going to constantly be thinking about that energy, desiring that energy back, wanting that energy because you trauma bonded with it, not realizing it was only a trauma bond, not a true, authentic bond that was meant to stay. And it's hard for you to release the version of you that was connected to them because that became your identity. Dang, this is deep. This is only the first reading, guys. How many minutes am I into this? Not even 10 minutes into your reading. Okay. It's almost as if you're going to have to like unclothe the attachment to that person. Like you're going to have to reestablish an identity. And I think that's why they keep showing me the divine feminine energy, because that's about being able to birth, right? It's about being able to procreate, being able to give life to something new. And the masculine energy doesn't have the ability to give life to something as a feminine energy does. And so they're bringing that to our attention, that you may operate a ton from your masculine energy, right? And you know we all have masculine and feminine. We all have both of those energies within us. But what happens oftentimes when we're imbalanced is that we tend to operate from the one that is the most like easiest for us. Okay, so based on your personality, it's probably easier for you to just do stuff, make something happen, and just go for whatever it is that you want to go for and do it yourself, because you probably have dealt with people who have kind of relied on you, but also they haven't gotten it done, and so you've kind of taken on the role of, well, I'm going to get this done since no one else will. But that also interferes with this attachment that you have to maybe falling into like people pleasing and more of a I'll take the back seat when it comes to certain relationships, because you want those relationships to stay. You don't want to cause too much conflict and chaos. You may be a go-getter, like a boss at work, able to do your own thing at work and stuff, but then when it comes to this one person, which I think this person is someone that is romantically attached to you. And it's because I'm seeing this as like passion. It's almost like this is the, you know, the demon and the angel that sit on your shoulders. Like this is the demonic energy of you, or the demon energy of you. The shadow parts of you are attached to this unhealthy thing, but the light attributes within you, that angel on your shoulders, are like, hey, we don't belong here. Come on, let's go, sis. Like, let's go. We don't belong here. We're meant for more. But there's something about this person that has a hold on you. They have an attachment to you. And again, it feels very much connected to some traumas that you two may have experienced together, or similar traumas that you two may have experienced in your life. And it's almost like that energy of that person has overtaken or overshadowed your own energy, to the point to where your identity again is, it seems to be found in that person. And that person doesn't respond in the way that you think that they should, that's when you become enraged. So one other thing that's coming through in this too is that rage is attached to control. And so whenever you feel like you don't have control over that person's actions, thoughts, then I think you become really, really frustrated, irritated. And I think that is another version of rage that may come out of you, because in your mind you feel like you've sacrificed so much for them, so why can't they do it for you? But what we're seeing here is that person isn't actually attached to you in a healthy way, and so that person is going to continue to trigger you, to continue to frustrate you, and to continue to overwhelm you, because they're an unhealthy attachment for you. And what's not good for us, our body is going to continuously reject. And it's the same thing with our spirits. Our spirit men will continue to reject anything that needs to be uprooted in us. And it really is your higher self saying, hey, pile number one, we were made for more. This is dragging us down. Let's move beyond this so that we can move into what's beneficial for us. And look at the bottom of the deck here, accept help. Yeah, this is interesting too, because with the personality that I'm picking up on, it feels to me again like you're able to do so much on your own, but yet you may be a little gangsta, I want to say, in the way that you go about that you may be blocking out the support that others may want to give you. You may also be resisting spirit removing this person or this energy from your life in order to bring in aligned energies. And you may be rejecting it because there's anger and frustration with the thought of you not having this person. But I think, from what I'm picking up on in your energy, I don't think you really want that person. I think you just don't want that person to not want you. And if that's the case, because I'm hearing someone say no, but I think if you sit with yourself and you do this, get grounded, I think you'll get to see things a little clearer. Because it feels like there's a lack of clarity in your energy. You may even get offended by listening to this reading. You may be like, no, she doesn't know what she's talking about. You may be ready to click off, but then there's another part of you that's like, bro, I think she's probably on to something, which it's not me, it's your ancestors. They're here to support you. They want you to get to your destined location. And until that happens, their love for you is going to pursue you, and you won't be able to escape it. So you can drop off of this tarot reading. They'll just find you in another way. And I'm telling you that speaking from experience, okay? I definitely know about wanting to run. Trust me. I've ran my whole life until I was like, you know what? I keep losing. Let me just give in. But yeah, there's something in the card here that's showing that you may not see that there's something that's needing clarity due to an avoidant energy is what I'm picking up on. But this avoidant energy is due to the fact that you may not be grounded in your truth. And oftentimes when we're drowned or rooted in someone else's truth and don't know our own truth, we first of all are ungrounded. But also, it's hard for us to really be connected to spirit, to God, because in those moments, we essentially are rejecting any offerings that he may have for us, because we only want to see the world through the lens of the things that have happened to us, in particular, our traumas. And so there's a very rare chance that you would be able to ground your energy in anything else, because it's almost like you take on this identity of your pain, your experiences, and then that's how the world is viewed, and nothing else matters in those moments. It doesn't matter that spirit is trying to connect you to other people, because you're in fight or flight, so you just want to be able to survive and figure out how to rise above the pain that you feel every second of your day. For you, a part of the challenge is going to be accepting help, and help may come just in the form of, a tarot reader on YouTube. Help may come in the form of someone in the grocery store saying, hey, you dropped that, let me pick it up for you. Help may come by someone saying, let me pump your gas. Help may come by someone in front of you paying for your coffee. In whatever way, it's coming through to show you that there are people who will give you exactly what you're desiring, who will love you authentically, and who you won't have to run from or be unhealthily attached to. Your angels are also here to support you. These are probably going to come out in reverse, guys, only because I have the deck upside down. One more. Your angels are here to support you. Your ancestors are also here to support you. Okay, the Queen of Swords, I was picking up on this energy too. Some of you may be an Aquarius, Gemini, or a Libra. Feels like an Aquarius energy to me. I was picking up on that earlier. It also feels like that Uranus energy. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, and that can also be the energy of, Uranus in its shadow self is disruption at its finest. It's disruption at its finest, let me tell you. And I have an Aquarian moon, and trust me, when I'm ticked off, good luck, Chuck. You're going to have a hard time, especially when I was operating from my shadow, from my wounds, when I was ungrounded. So I can relate to how you feel, which also makes me want to help you even more. And so your ancestors are going to give you advice and information on how to rebalance yourself, recalibrate yourself. For starters, they're already giving me recommendations for you, and the first thing that they're recommending is that you spend time outdoors. For someone, they're saying you spend way too much time in the house, and that staying in the house is going to continue to keep you attached to this negative energy, because staying in the house just keeps your mind like constantly in this spinning energy of what happened to you, okay? Because there's something about a war in your mind that they keep telling me, and it's very interesting because they had me pull this deck out, which this deck is also like, in my opinion, like a deck of like, it's a like a political deck is how it always feels to me, but it's actually not. Hold on, I'll tell you the name. Okay, so this is the Hexen, I think 2.0 deck. The creator of the deck, she's an ecologist, so she writes a lot about, she has like books and stuff, but she talks a lot about how global issues impact like political issues and all kinds of other global issues impact the world. And she created this tarot deck, and I thought it was interesting that they told me to pull this deck out for you, because this also gives me Aquarian energy with the humanitarian portion of it. So there's something about you, excuse me if I could catch my breath, but there's something about you that is deeply connected to humanity. And I think that your energy feels to me like someone who would be an advocate, a great advocate for those who have been mistreated, abused, or for those who don't have a voice of their own. I just think that what happens is when we have gifts in specific areas, from what I've seen and experienced in my own personal life, the opposite is always like the worst energy to overcome. So if you're placed here on earth to help and support people through the lens of love and helping others to overcome and disconnect from trauma bonding, things like that, then of course it's going to hit you the hardest, because you have to be able to gain the tools and the resources through healing yourself in order to be able to get to the other side to where you can support others. And I think that's why your energy is showing up in the way that it is with this attachment. This unhealthy attachment seems to be an attachment to individuals who are not good for you due to your own lack of self-confidence, esteem, and worthiness. There's something about you devaluing yourself due to wanting and desiring to keep others, specific people or persons in particular, in your life by means of control. If you haven't watched any of my other readings, guys, I'm very honest. I love you guys. I speak to you in the way that I get the information, but also this is, believe it or not, exactly how, actually I talk to myself way worse. Like my guides are like, they just tell me, they're like, no, you need to stop. You're trying to controlling. They'll say stuff like that. And I'm like, dang, you guys are just, ooh. But it's because that's just the way that I am. I'm like, thank you. Just give it to me. Because for me, the way that I look at life is, do you want to get to the bottom of it and resolve it and be able to heal from this? Or do you want to keep, spinning the block and playing games? And there are a ton of people who have that same energy as me who are like, no. And I think the reason why I'm being so straightforward with you is because you kind of have that. You're giving me the vibes of, again, like an Aquarius, you're going to just say it like it is, not holding back, or Cancer energy is coming through heavily as well. Okay, just energetically, not necessarily in the cards. But the Two of Pentacles is here with the Knight of Swords and the Eight of Swords. And I think, again, what happens is this Eight of Swords is giving me the imprint of you being like imprisoned in your mind. And whenever you feel conflict, chaos, or disruption in your mind, I think that's when you may erupt with actions, right? This doesn't mean that you're like going out and cussing people out or beating people up. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means that your energy is expressed as rage rather than an expression of peace, calm, serenity, and, love. The Knight of Swords is also a sign that when you are disrupted, you tend to respond in a way that would be more of like your inner child screaming for help versus the adult version of you that is balanced and able to speak and communicate appropriately. I think when your feelings get hurt, when you feel unseen, invalidated, or when you feel like someone is doing something to you that you don't like, I think you may explode, okay? And that explosion is coming through with this Two of Pentacles, which the Two of Pentacles for you is suggestive of the fact that you're being advised to bring your thoughts into balance, because you notice we have the Knight of Swords and the Eight of Swords. This is all about stabilizing your thoughts, your mind too. Like your mind, not just your thoughts. I'm not saying two. I didn't mean to say that, but your mind is a major part of where your rage comes from. Your unhealthy attachment is to your thoughts and your mind, and this is what they're asking you to clear. It's interesting too, because Medusa has snakes that come out of her brain or her head traditionally, which she has them here too. And so what your team is saying is that when you are dealing with a situation, and it may be a specific person, but again, this bleeds into other areas of your life. For someone, they're even showing me children. Like maybe you may get frustrated with this one individual, and then that kind of like bleeds into your children to where they're now impacted by the fact that this person has pissed you off. And so what they're showing here is that in order to release yourself from this unhealthy attachment, it's going to require that you first get grounded. So this is where you can go outside, get some sunshine, get out of the house. They're emphasizing that again. Get out of the house. Straighten out your thoughts by just allowing yourself to be. Like, be still in that moment and just embrace wherever it is that you're at. If you're outside at the park, put your feet in the grass and just stand there. Allow yourself to think calmer. They're saying talk yourself down, okay? So I think you'll know what that means. But it's almost like don't allow your thoughts to escalate due to, they're saying fake news. So it's like you may hear something, you may feel something, you may be telling yourself something that's not actually true. It's like the stories we tell is what I'm hearing. So you may find yourself telling yourself stories. Yeah, that will make sense with the Eight of Swords. And in those stories, you may react instead of establishing balance first and then only acting when appropriate. They're also showing that gardening, especially or in specific flowers, like planting flowers, growing flowers, may be beneficial for you. There's something they're saying about like the transition of the flowers that'll help you to see the potential or possibilities in you transitioning. And then I want to just call this out too. Yeah, I keep seeing that yin and yang energy there. Balancing out your masculine and feminine energy. And then you have bring in the joy gods or joy guides here. And this is about allowing yourself to find more joy. Find activities that bring you joy. Okay, so bring in more joy. Find maybe some activities that that you used to do as a child or that a child would interact with. I think that you've been doing a lot of adulting, pal number one. This feels very much like the energy of someone who has, lived a lot of life, and life may not have been as kind to you as it desires to be. And in order to transition you from the old way of being into the new, you're going through a phase of transition where things are being asked to be released, attachments being released. And if you're here, I just want to congratulate you because you're doing the best thing for yourself by being here today. And the reason why is that most people would not click on this video because a lot of people want to be in denial about the attachments that they do have, let alone think that someone else could offer them something to assist and support them in being released from those attachments. And then, my God, nobody wants to stay to the end to listen unless they're serious about healing. And I think that, your ancestors are saying to you that they're proud of you for being willing to, and they're showing me this computer information here, this IBM. It's almost like you're downloading the old data so that you can upload new data. And they want you to know that they're very proud of you In the process of doing this, though, they do have one more piece of advice for you, which is to protect your spirit. So a part of what's happened to you is that others have had so much influence on you without you realizing it, that they've kind of come in and kind of put a damper or tampered your energy. And this has happened to me, so I totally get it. You don't know, you're unaware of this until it's brought to your attention. We don't even think that we're capable of doing this because we feel like we have full control and power over our lives, and then something like this happens and it's like, oh wait, shucks, well, what did I do, you know? And so this is awesome though, because this is one of the first steps to you taking back your life and owning it, right? Refocusing and putting yourself at the center of everything you do versus those others who bring on the energy of negativity and of, you know, frustration and anger, grief, sadness, and all of these other emotions attached to your reading, right? This is also the first step to bringing things back into balance. So I do want to read the Medusa card to you because I want you to just pick up the energy from the book, and then we will close out your reading. But your guides, your ancestors are very, very, very proud of you for being present and want you to know that this mountain may seem huge, but it's not. The more you continue to use your masculine energy to take action towards and not quit, to not give up, you're going to recognize that the more beneficial and happy you become in life as a whole. Okay, so if you want to take a screenshot, feel free to do so. This is Medusa, Shadow of Rage from Libya. The temple is shadows, the element is fire. Medusa is feared as an ugly, vicious monster bee. The truth? This Libyan Berber dark goddess of wisdom's rage is sacred, epic, and fully justified. Medusa's shadow guidance. You are pissed off and petrified, angry and shaking, but underneath that you are hurt and heartbroken. Feeling undervalued is overwhelming. You can't stay silent anymore. Let your joys, hopes, and beauty rage on. Take a breath, close your eyes, and put both hands over your lower abdomen. Tune into the part of you that feels out of control. Flood it with loving, healing, golden light. Now put both hands over your heart and do the same. You have a right to your full rage of emotions, including anger. Sacred rage inspires us to run for office, lead protest, and shift policies. But unhealthy rage can devour your very soul. Get clear on what is really happening. Allow yourself to feel your feelings, to see the truth, and just because you feel threatened does not mean you are being threatened. The declaration is, I have a right to feel my feelings. And this is so true, pile number one. This is fantastic. I love this. I hope that you were able to receive exactly what you needed today. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to drop a comment, like, and subscribe. And when you become, a political leader, one who does whatever in the world, come back and let us know so that we can follow you and support you. I appreciate you all. Have a good night. I'll see you soon. Bye. Hi, pile number 2. If you chose Urzuli Dantor, etheric cords, this is the unhealthy attachment that your ancestors are asking you to release. Now, I will tell you that I recorded pile number 1 a little bit ago, and I took a little bit of a break, and the break was intentional for your reading. When I came back, they had me turn the lights down lower, so you'll notice that the lighting is a little less abrasive or loud as before, but there's something very sacred about your ancestors and your lineage, where you came from. There's an heiress energy that I'm picking up on, and one that is meant to be honored, acknowledged. I'm not sure if you fully understand the magnitude of where you came from, of who you are, and the strength that is been given to you, gifted to you by your ancestors, but there's an acknowledgement of them that we first want to make before we can even consider proceeding to the reading. It's almost like you want to just give honor first, appreciation for God and, the ancestors, the spirit guides, angels of the Most High, just for them allowing us the opportunity to step into this space, because it does feel like as you release this attachment, there's going to be a new level of hierarchy or ranking that you will receive. There's something coming through in regards to fixing your crown. Now, initially, when they were telling me fixing your crown, I was thinking that they were speaking to like picking your crown up. The metaphoric phrase of like reacquainting yourself to who you are. That is pertinent to your reading, but the other part of that is your connection to spirit, your connection to the divine. They were showing me the crown chakra, and honestly, they had me take my covering off of my head and like shake my hair out. And my hair is very sacred, my hair is very spiritual. Honestly, when I got my hair locked, I went into a whole nother level or phase of my spiritual gifts. But there's a very sacred energy that is in my hair. It's almost like a Samson energy. And if you have locks, then this message is pertinent for you as well. Or if you have hair that is unique to your specific culture, right? Your background, your ancestors, then there's something that is a strain of connection in your hair that they're bringing to our attention. But they had me shake my hair, and I paused the video to do so. It was almost like there were like bugs in it or something, and there was nothing in it. But they were telling me that your crown, your antenna, because I consider my locks my antennas, right? To access my ancestors, my guides, spirit, God. So for you, there's something about you reconnecting, like your antennas that connect you back to spirit, that unite you to spirit, that allow you to be enlightened to all things, but specifically these unhealthy attachments that they're going to call out today. They're wanting to call that out. They're wanting you to bring that into alignment. So for you, the first thing that I'm seeing, pile number 2, as the unhealthy attachment is an inability / challenge with releasing things and people that you know are not beneficial to your future. But this comes by means of and ways of like connection. So the people that you are connected to, this could be family, romantic partners, or children. Those are the 3 individuals or scenarios that are coming through immediately. There's something about the fragility of these connections that lead you to believe that if you cut them off or if you disconnect, it's almost like you feel like this is going to affect your ability to function. Okay, so they're telling me, like, you know how the Bible talks about honor your parents? It's almost like that has been thrown in your face your whole life, to the point to where you feel like you can't be honest with your parents in regards to your feelings, even because it's frowned upon as if it's disrespectful. And they're specifically saying, we're not telling you to disconnect from your parents, but your challenges with not being able to disconnect from your parents bleed into your inability to disconnect from relationships that do not serve your highest good. And they're saying that the reason why they brought up the children is because your children are directly impacted by your inability to detach from these connections. So this does sound like romantic partners, romantic relationships, and connections. You may have found yourself over the years inviting your children to be open to meeting and connecting to the people that you've been in relationships with. And they're saying that this is the example that they're using. Could or couldn't be your children for you, but they're speaking to children very, very directly here, being impacted. The children are being impacted by your, it feels like a lack of boundaries, if I can be honest with you. Or a challenge with establishing healthy boundaries for your children. They're saying very clearly that there's not an attack here. They're not attacking you. They want to bring this to your attention because when something is brought to your attention, they said you're diligent in dealing with it. So this is something unique about you, pile number 2, that I think that you should honor yourself for and value yourself and esteem yourself through this, is the fact that your team is calling out the fact that anytime they bring something to your attention, you're quick to correct it. This is why there's this Eris energy appearing here, is because when you're able to operate from that space, you then receive gifts. This is where prosperity comes from. It comes from our ability to correct, accept criticism, valid criticism, right? Corrective criticism, whatever you want to call it. And to be able to transmute the energy into something that is then empowering, right? So there's something about you that is very persistent. They're saying that when you honor yourself, you teach your children how to honor themselves, but not only that, you honor your ancestors. They're also showing me a boat that's like driving in this direction. So imagine the boat's going in that direction, just because I don't want to twist my hand that way. Imagine the boat's going in this direction. There's a rope attached to the boat. Okay, this rope is dragging along and they're showing the rope catch fire. You're back here in this little boat, right? There's like a cruise ship here, there's a rope, and then there's your boat. They're showing you in a boat that's being pulled by this cruise ship, but the rope catches on fire from the cruise ship and it just bleeds over to you. And they're saying that, what would happen in that scenario? In that scenario, the cruise ship is safe, but you're in danger. So they're saying that this cord that is connected to you keeps you in danger, yet the other parties stay safe. And they're wanting to call that out because they're saying that your children are in the boat with you. Whoever you are, pile number 2, you have children. You have to have children, or there's a situation where not only you are being impacted by these cords. Okay, so if it's not children, there's something else there, whether it be nieces, nephews, cousins, sister-in-law, baby cousins, Tracy's. Somebody's in the mix there that you have an attachment or connection to, or you may operate as the parent or guardian, so it could even be foster children, things like that. But something is impacting someone that you're a guardian over, or someone's. Okay, this is coming through too loudly for this to not be the case. And if this isn't resonating with you, you may want to pick a different pile, because it does seem very specific. But they're calling this out because they're wanting to first bring to your attention the royalty that you come from, and then secondly remind you of how your decisions impact those that you love the most. Wow. There's something powerful about your ability to grow something, your ability to take nothing and turn it into something. It's almost like this manifester energy here. But your desire to be loved, your desire to be validated, I'm hearing through men very clearly, through men, is affecting your ability to see your own like queendom. It's like you're not recognizing your power for being as powerful it is. Like, they're showing me a battery. A battery is charged, and it's, the little green battery charge thing that shows on an iPhone. It's charged to 7%, but the battery is actually full. But there's a default on, or like an error on the iPhone where it's glitching and it's showing the charge at the wrong percentage. So see, you're seeing yourself as like 7 or like 30%. You may even see yourself as 70%, but they're like, you're at 100%. Like, you're tripping. You're not seeing yourself for who you are. And it's because of these cords that light you on fire, metaphorically, right? So like these cords that you're attached to, you're allowing yourself to be pulled by a ship that should be capable of maintaining itself. And yet you're back here with your children suffering in some capacity. That's what they're saying, okay? So let's see if we can keep going. I'm going to do this. Let's use this because they're calling this out. It's like a wall that has to be broken through. You may be a little stubborn, picking up on some like Taurian energy here. Aries energy is coming through. You're very protective, though. Protective of those that you love. I was picking up on Leo energy too. I was just getting ready to say Leo energy. I'm not gonna pull the lion. I just wanted to point that out since it kind of flew out like that. Let's just get one card for pile number 2, please. But once you knock down this door, pile number 2, you are like it. You're already it. You're not recognizing it. You're already it, but you're not allowing yourself to operate in the status that you're supposed to be operating in, because this cord almost has like a blinder on you. It's almost like it prevents you from operating at fullest capacity, or it's like putting a lid on a cup, right? You can't overflow or overfill that cup if there's a lid on it, because you're only going to be able to go so far. And that's what they're saying, is like almost like take the lid off, pile number 2, because your unhealthy attachment is to stagnation, but by means of other people. And this obviously is your allowing, right? It's not their fault. It's your fault because you allow it. But there's something to do with accountability and action with that accountability. Like maybe you're really good at taking accountability and then like making things happen in most areas, but then this one area or this one person just has like a hold on you, and you're like, I'm just not really wanting to let them go. And I'm going to tell you from experience, you don't have to. Like, you don't have to. There's no, like, I don't know. I just have a hard time when people try to say, you need to do this, you need to do that. You can do whatever you want to do. Let's just like be real here. You can do whatever it is that you want to do, because this is your life and it's your life to live, and you should do whatever you want to do. And I stayed in a very unhealthy relationship for 20 years because I wanted to do that. And I would have done it all over again. And if you ask me now, I would go back and I would do the same thing. And the reason why is because if I didn't stay there, I wouldn't learn the lessons that I learned. And there's no way that I would be me today if I didn't endure what I had to endure. And so it's like, you should be allowed to do whatever it is that you want to do. And if you want to stay in this cycle, then stay in it. Your ancestors are just here to operate as guides, to offer you support. A guide doesn't push you on a path. A guide says, here's the route, here's the best route to take whichever route you choose, right? A guide can also say, here's the harder path, here's the easier path, choose which you wish. And you could take the hard path and then something shift and it ends up being easy. You just don't know. You just have to follow your rule. And that's, I think, a big part of this message, is that they're wanting you to establish your own way rather than being led by others, specifically this other energy that is this, like cruise ship that seems to be misleading you, or just allowing you, or not allowing, but kind of pushing you to follow them, when essentially you could end up getting burned by them. Because that's what I think the rope is about the potential that this person could burn you. This person may not have your best interest at hand, and so they're advising you to maybe not put all your eggs in this one basket, but instead to cut the cords. Especially whoever this reading is for, you know exactly who this person is, and you also know exactly what their unhealthy habits are. So whatever is unhealthy about this person, you're fully aware of it. For someone, you're feeling like pain in your chest when you're around this person. I'm picking up on that. For someone else, you get sick to your stomach, or you may experience both, but you may feel very sickly and chest pain, tightness, shoulder, like pressure. You feel this energy when you're around this person. It's because this person is like, their energy is just an energy of, it feels like a disappointing energy. For someone, you could be lonely, and that could be the reason why you operate in this energy. But let's look at the bear. So I'm not going to pull out the guidebook on this. I'll pull the guidebook out on the Urzuli Dantura at the end of the reading. But just intuitively picking up with the bear here, that you may have invested quite a bit of time in this person, and that may be part of your challenge. I think also this has something to do with comfort and your desire to stay safe or play it safe. And you also may be doing this because of your children. That is coming through as well. Like, well, what are my children going to do if I leave their father, right? They're also bringing up something about this individual may seem like they're cute. You know how, like, when you see bears, they're like teddy bears in the store, like, we're like, oh my god, these are so cute, look at these little teddy bears. But then when you see a bear in real life, they're like scary, and like a polar bear, imagine, because that's what they're showing me. So it's like there's something about this person that may appear like, maybe they're very charismatic, maybe they show up as a cute little teddy bear that you just want to love, but then the depths of them is really like, a monster, someone that could devour you. Like, they look cute, cuddly, you're sleeping in the bed with them, you're like, oh my god, this is fantastic, but yet this person is almost hibernating, waiting for their opportunity to destroy you. And again, this could be family. For someone, it could also be your mother. Like, maybe you have an unhealthy attachment with your mother, and your mother is, not who you think she is or who you want her to be. Because that's a lot of this. I think this cord that you have, this cord and this unhealthy attachment, has to do with you not necessarily wanting to believe that this person is really who they are. But they're also showing the bear to say that you, as the mama bear, are, responsible for protecting your cubs. And if there's an energy around that's not protecting your cubs, then they are advising you to rid yourself of it. Wow. They're advising you to rid yourself of it. And I love this. Look at this. There is always a solution. I kept seeing this when I was shuffling, preparing for the reading and meditating, because what they're saying is that you may feel like there's no path or way to get out of this. Like, well, if I do this, then, what's going to happen to my kids, or this. And they're saying that those are and I'm just going to tell you the way that they're saying it. Those are excuses that keep you bound to this energy, and that keep you trapped in the thoughts and ideas of, I have to be here. I have to do this because I don't have any other choices. And they're saying that there's always a solution. There's always another option, but it's going to come by means of you grounding yourself and figuring out how to hone in on a loving option. Now, this loving option may not take this other party into consideration, but the loving option is what's going to fulfill your heart and give you the most peace and satisfaction in life. Like finding the treasures within you so that this person is incapable of disrupting you and not able to knock you off your, like flip your switch to make you act out in a different way than you want to. It's something like finding, even if you have to go through a maze, finding a way out, right? Like when you go through like a corn maze for like harvest season, Halloween time, or whatever you want to call it, sometimes you get in there and you're like, how the heck am I going to get out? But you find a way. And so that's kind of what they're giving you, is like, come on, you can find a way. Even if you have to ask around, like you don't have to resolve this right this second, but they're bringing this to your attention as this being something that is keeping you trapped, is keeping you stuck. And the way that I see it, and based on how they're showing me, is it's really preventing you from accessing the royalty that you are due. So your ancestors have this, like I said, royal heiress energy to them. So that would mean that this is yours rightfully. These blessings that your ancestors had or didn't have or were holding until you came, that's yours. This is your birthright. This is what is to be gifted to you. But it's almost like you can't step through that door until you're willing to do what you need to do for yourself. Until you put yourself first, it's like they're not going to allow you to access this. And the reason why is because if they allow you to access this, then this other person is a beneficiary. And what they want to do is rid this other energy, because it's going to set you on fire, metaphorically, right? This other energy is going to end up burning you in some capacity. And so they're trying to protect you from that. Wow, this is serious, y'all. Set healthy limits and boundaries. And by the way, guys, they're not saying like this person's going to like take you out or anything like that. It's more so that this person is going to do a number on you and cause more pain than they may have already done, especially with their energy coming through as like disappointing. This means that this person has let you down before. And so if you're not cautious and if you don't protect yourself and put you and your children first, this person will probably disappoint you again, okay? And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I also am thankful for your ancestors coming through so strongly and being willing and wanting to share this information with you for your best and highest good, okay? So this card here is about setting healthy limits. And I think we've talked about this a lot, about boundaries, right? Honoring what grows within you is coming through in this energy. Like keeping your garden, which would be your heart, your mind, your spirit, man, like keeping those energies protected from this negative energy. So if you're in a boat and there's a rope attached to a ship, cruise ship, the rope catches on fire, it's coming towards you. What can you do to protect yourself so that the rope doesn't actually get to you and your loved ones? And that's how they want you to look at this, is how can you protect yourself so that the fire doesn't get to you, right? So it's almost like learning how to stop it before it arrives. And that would require planning and preparation, because this energy has the ability to disappoint you. They're showing me how the bears prepare and overeat, right? They overeat so that they store up enough food for the hibernating period. So for some of you may need to hibernate yourselves from this other energy. So how can you store up enough resources, whatever that may be? Courage, strength, tenacity, endurance. How can you store up enough energy in order for you to be able to endure the path of releasing this energy? Wow. 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 Okay, guys. See, this is the energy that you sit in your mind when you think about this person. It's an energy of stress, anxiety, and it feels like you are constantly at war within your mind as to whether or not you should stay or go from this person. This energy is an energy that makes you feel like you're constantly having to fight but never actually winning. And you can take that as that may resonate, because fighting and feeling like you're never winning is totally dependent upon the person, right? We can all interpret that differently, but it feels like you're constantly trying to do right and make things right with this person, yet there's a war constantly. It's like it just doesn't seem like, it's like 10 steps forward, 2 steps forward, 10 steps back. It's that type of energy. And the messages are coming through very clearly when the cards were coming out. The three of Pentacles is here. Let me give you the cards before I'm spitting it all out. Three of Pentacles, the Ace of Pentacles, the Emperor, and the Six of Swords. So what they're showing is the Three of Pentacles here is they're wanting you to collaborate with people, and they're saying specifically, like, including us, we want you to collaborate with us, with your ancestors and your guides. But the collaboration can't be, excuse me guys, sorry. The collaboration can't be with people who don't have the same vision. So the Three of Pentacles for you is representing finding people who have the same mission and vision in life, like people who want the same things. If this Five of Swords energy shows up, it absolutely does not equate to somebody wanting the same thing. When you're in a partnership, when you have family, when you have friends, when people are in healthy relationships with you, they want to reciprocate. And that's what the Three of Pentacles is. Because what they're showing me in this Three of Pentacles is that the fact that this collaboration isn't balanced, you notice that there's an instability here, right? So you see two people giving, look at the size of the pentacles. Two people are giving these amounts, and this third party or third person is giving this much. So you could even be dealing with a third party situation with this person, meaning something else is interfering with what they give to you. That does not mean that someone's cheating. That means that someone is giving more of their time and themselves to something else outside of you. This could just be their cell phones. It could just be as simple as that. Maybe they come home, they spend time on their cell phones, and they neglect you. But what they're showing here is that this pentacle is you, and you are giving to an imbalanced situation where there are other energies that are seen more visibly than you. However, you notice that this pentacle is way larger than these pentacles, and it's because you are the prize pile number 2, but because you don't see that, you devalue yourself based on this energy, because this person is this energy. They're at the 70%. Okay? And what you're doing is you're shrinking yourself in order to fit with them, in order to align with them. But there's never going to be equality here. There's never going to be reciprocity here, because there's an imbalance. It's almost like the scale is broken because your weight is way heavier than theirs. And it's not to say, because I hate like hierarchical, like I'm better than you. That's just crazy to me. We're all the same. Our blood is the same color. We're all on level playing fields here, right? Everybody's the same, but we're not the same. See, when you've been chosen for something bigger than you, you're not the same as everybody else. And there's just no way to put it. And you have been chosen for something that is greater than you, which will yet to be revealed, right? Maybe you want to watch some of my other pick a card readings or other readings, but there's no revelation of that in this card, in this reading, other than the fact that you have to protect your abundance and prosperity. And that's interesting because I just did a reading on that the other day, and I've never even received channel messages like that. But when I saw this Ace of Pentacles, I heard very loudly breakthrough. And your ancestors are saying that your breakthrough is in new opportunities. It's in new experiences, and new experiences that are aligned with, first, your heart space, because they're showing me the heart chakra, and then secondly, that are aligned with where you're going. You'll notice that this pentacle is a little smaller than this pentacle, and it's because when this situation is resolved here, where there's an imbalance and this etheric cord that you have attached to this cruise ship, when that is severed, you are going to notice that your life transitions into new experiences and opportunities. And this Emperor is showing up in two different ways. The first thing they were showing me is a grandfather that is guiding you. It's an ancestor, a grandfather specifically, who is guiding you and kind of nudging you. You may feel these little nudges along the path to get you to put yourself back in the driver's seat, which that's the other part of this Emperor card, is they're saying that there's a need for you to take control of this unhealthy attachment. They're showing me the Emperor in the reverse, and when the Emperor is in the reverse, he can be avoidant, but he can also be very arrogant and haughty and stubborn in what he will and won't do. And so just be cautious there. That could be your energy when you're irritated with this situation, or it could be that other party's energy where they may be very stubborn, self-centered, all about only what they want. Like, it could be a lot of that going on. So just be cautious. Or you could just have heavy Aries energy in your chart. I think I was picking up on that earlier. But either way, they're saying that when you start to put yourself back in the driver's seat and take control over the things that you have control over, which is your action, your life, you are going to recognize that the solution is going to be found within you. This is all about you. This is you energy. Aries is also the energy of I am, and that's coming through very heavily because the I am energy is all about how you view yourself. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you, and how are you showing up for yourself? Aries energy is, looked upon as being selfish. But I will tell you that Aries energy is excellent, in my opinion, for all of us, because we all need to pay a little more attention to ourselves. I mean, not all of us, but a lot of us. Especially when you have gifts, you need to pay more attention to yourself than you do others, because then you're unhealthy for others if you're not giving yourself what you need. And this Six of Swords energy is saying to choose the direction that you want. Okay, pile number 2, you're being given options here to choose the path that's going to lead to the most peace, because I think that that's what you're seeking, especially with this Five of Swords energy. It feels to me like someone just wants calm. Like you just want to get rid of the chaos. You want to be able to set healthy boundaries and limits. You want to be able to rest peacefully. You want to be able to hibernate and know that you and your cubs are protected. But that all starts with you, and your blessings are in your new opportunities. Okay, let's read your card here. Etheric Cords. Urzuli Dantor. I'm going to mispronounce stuff, so forgive me in advance. So Urzuli Dantor, goddess of etheric cords, Haiti. Temple is the lovers, element is fire. Urzuli Dantor fought elbow to elbow with her people during the Haitian Revolution to protect mothers and children. She represents the healing of the Dark Mother. Urzuli Dantor's guidance. If it isn't wholehearted love, release it. Remember your worth. The embodiment is the energy cords binding you and someone you no longer wish to be attached to are strong. You must be willing to let go. Close your eyes. See divine swords of God, goddesses' loving light, separating you and dissolving the cords between you. You are both whole and healed. Just as you shower to cleanse physical grime, There is also grime in the form of energy cords, also called karmic ribbons, emotional cords, or etheric cords. Spiritual maintenance is required. I am worthy, compassionate, and whole. If you'd like to take a screenshot, feel free to do so. I also just want to mention something to you that is being brought to my attention in regards to cutting cords. You can totally do whatever you wish to, but for me, I've never taken part in any cord cutting because I believe that we have the power to do these things on our own, independently. So, for example, me, I'm a visionary, I'm a seer, I see things, and I may be telling you this because maybe you do too. So what I do and what I've done several times in my releasing of people is visualizing them standing right in front of me along with God. I'll always use God as a mediator. So I call Spirit in, Spirit, come, could you please help me? Or maybe an archangel, Raphael, or someone who heals the heart, Metatron, right? Can you come help me? Because I want to make sure I'm safe in this space with this energy that I want to detach from. And then I will speak kindly to them, tell them thank you for the lessons that they taught me. Thank you for, the love that we shared. Thank you for the beautiful memories that we had. And I would ask them, are they in agreement with our departure from one another? I say yes on their behalf, and they say yes, shaking heads for them. And then I watch them turn their back to me and then walk away from me. And what I do is I visualize them kind of going down a hill. So I'll be standing here and I'll watch them and I watch them go away, and then they just walk down the hill, and then I say thank you and bye-bye. So you can do whatever you want. You don't have to do like a whole cord cutting thing. I mean, I think some things we may make things out of something, and maybe for you, anyways, it's just my opinion. Do what you want, boo. Ain't no hate or shade or judgment over here. Do what you want. But I was just giving the example because I felt like they wanted me to share that. All right, guys, I hope this was your reading. Thank you for receiving this. Everything I give is with love. Trust me, your ancestors love you. They only want what's best for you, and they only even allow me to speak on behalf of them because of the love that they have for you. You have a whole new life of abundance, prosperity, leadership, rule, and honor. Okay, this is the heiress energy that we were speaking to earlier with the Emperor. You have that waiting for you on the other side of your fears. And I know what it feels like to be afraid of what if things on the other side don't work out. And I'm glad that you're here and that I'm able to speak this into you, because I will tell you that everything that you desire is on the other side of fear. I have left and given up everything that I fought for 20 years. And I was terrified. And I did it afraid. I did it limping and, crawling on the ground, not wanting to leave. I did it because I just believed that there was no way that God would leave me in a situation that left me so broken. I just couldn't believe that. And I'll tell you that it didn't take long at all for God to move on my behalf and to start allowing the people that were aligned with me to come in. And now I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't wish I would have done it sooner, but I'm so thankful that I did it when I did, because the very things that I dreamt of, the man that I dreamt of, I thought he was a different human, but the energy of him, his personality, everything about him is exactly what I saw in my dreams, what I hoped for, what I prayed for. And it just took me just allowing God to just do the work within me. It just took me surrendering, submitting, giving up my own control. I've always been very controlling, guys. I'm a nurse by day. I don't think you could be a nurse without being controlling. I was ridiculously controlling. I learn every day a little more about releasing control and fully surrendering. I practice a lot of the art of detachment. I watch a lot of Mooji, Mooji on YouTube, and he's really good at helping you to be able to focus on the now. But I'm telling you, pile number 2, when you release this, your life is going to begin, okay? It's going to begin, not from me, but from Spirit. These are messages from Spirit and your ancestors. Thank you for watching. If you wouldn't mind dropping a comment, liking, and subscribing, I'd appreciate it. It'll just help others to come and join us. Thank you so much for being here. May God bless you abundantly. And I'm just excited to see you get to the other side, because I know what it feels like and you're going to love it. Have a great night. I'll see you soon. Bye. Hi, pile number 3. If you chose the Atete Worthiness card, this is your reading on what unhealthy attachment needs releasing. So your ancestors have already shown up and they are here to represent your tribe. Your energy is beautiful. Let me just start off by saying that, okay? I've been sitting and channeling messages and the energy is beautiful. It's going to be something interesting and unique about your reading. It feels very different and less invasive is the word that I want to use. More so like a less direct energy. But we're gonna get there. Let's just dive into it. I'm just kind of giving you what I'm picking up on right away. What they were showing me right away is that there's something about this unhealthy attachment that's linked to some sort of alchemy, okay? There's something also about like an overflow. So it's almost like they were showing initially that you have to pour more into yourself than what you think is needed, okay? So you may have an unhealthy attachment that leads you to pouring into others and not giving yourself the, like, maybe if there's a container, you may tend to fill yourself half of the way and then give other people the other 50% of you, but you leave less at the end of the day for you. Okay, I hope this makes sense. Whoever this reading is for, you're going to get what I'm saying, but just the way that it's being given. There's something about changing this like version of you. It seems like it's an adverse energy. Like the attachment that you have to tending to others seems to overtake every other part of you. And so it's almost as if you had to give more to yourself than others. You would feel, again, like there's an adversary, right? Like you would have this adverse reaction. That's all I keep hearing. And an adverse reaction, if you work in healthcare and medicine, you probably know this, which the energy that I'm picking up on is someone who does work in some type of service industry. Now, service can be anything. A teacher is a servant. I don't know why people only think that nurses and doctors are servants or service careers. That's not the truth, guys. If you are serving people, if your job is to tend to someone else, you're in a service position. Even if it's an administrative assistant who only services, their director or the vice president of an organization, that's not just a job. That is a service career where you are tending to the needs of others, okay? So, and I think I'm just saying that because you may feel minimized in the way that you view yourself. So when I said, even if it's just an administrative assistant, I'm like, that's not just an administrative assistant. I mean, I even say that about myself. I'm like, I'm just a nurse. Like, that's not that big of a deal. But somebody could be offended by the just word. And I think that you may justify your overgiving to the fact that you're just something. And that's, to me, why your guides are bringing it up right now, is they're saying that those words are important. The words that you speak over yourself and to yourself are important. And there's also something here about allowing yourself to be wherever you're at and seeing that as being important. Now, they're bringing up something that I am always talking to them about, which is interesting. It's this word, though: worthiness versus deserving. Okay. And I think that you are probably challenged by these energies. I think you're challenged by the energy of feeling like you're worthy to just kind of pour into you and, forget about everybody else. And I think you're challenged by that because you probably had parents who, encouraged you to serve others, to tend to other people, to be kind to people. And what tends to happen is we can become overly kind to everybody else to the point of neglect for ourselves. And that's how your energy feels. It feels like you've poured so much out of you and have forgotten the significance of pouring that into yourself. I also am picking up on someone who has their hands in so many different baskets that it's hard for you to stop and tend to yourself because you're so busy operating in all of these other spaces. And your team is advising you to minimize those spaces that interfere with you pouring into you. I'm also hearing someone say, well, what is pouring into me? And they're bringing up things that they've taught me. So a couple of things that have been beneficial to me for pouring into myself is my plants in my house. I love my plants, and I am growing even fonder of plants, and I'm finding myself wanting to go and buy plants frequently, which you don't want to become addicted to things, too much of anything is too much. But there's something about finding something that keeps you grounded. So I've also gotten into gardening recently as well, because I've realized that I love to play in dirt and sand and, like soil. I love to feel connected to the earth. And they're only telling me to share this with you because for you, there's something that helps you feel connected. And you have to find that for yourself. Like sometimes it's important for me to just go around and just wiggle my soil around. So I'll grab my plants and just kind of like touch the soil, like just move them around. And that's actually pouring into me, because what's happening is when I'm digging in the soil, I'm being reminded of how connected I am to this life that is being given through my plants. They're a direct reflection of me, my energy, the vibrancy, the healing energy that I have. I seep it into them. It's almost like they're my little children. And so for you, you're being asked to find things that pour into you. Find things that give you vibrancy. For someone here, it may have something to do with like herbalism, botany. Maybe you're into like herbal teas. Maybe you have a garden or desire a garden, and you don't have to spend a whole bunch of money to be able to do these things. It's just a matter of being creative and putting yourself first, because taking the time to stop and investigate something that you think you'll find joy in is actually pouring into yourself. When you brush it off, and then Joe comes and says, can you do this for me? And you say, oh yeah, absolutely. And you jump on Joe's request, but you neglect or negate the fact that you have something that you really would like to do. Then that is a form of, codependency, people pleasing, but also too, it's a form of self-neglect. So your unhealthy attachment, I think it's clear you probably already are knowing you probably knew what it was before you even came here. Your unhealthy attachment so far seems to be connected to overgiving. Giving more to others than you do to yourself. And it has something to do with some fears around or doubts around the fact that you actually are worthy of being poured into. And I'll tell you that this energy affects every area of your life. And it affects every area of your life because if you have a relationship with someone, say for example, you have a romantic relationship with someone, there's no way that you are showing up as your best self in that relationship, because this energy screams someone who thinks that they're responsible for 100% of a relationship. And the reality of it is, and I had to learn this myself, guys. So let me tell you, like I told every other pal, there's no judgment, there's no shade, there's nothing but love here. Your ancestors, guides are only going to come through and share what they know that you're capable of handling in this moment. And that doesn't mean that you're less than, that you're not ready. It doesn't mean any of that. It means that this is the portion that is being offered to you at this moment, because this is what you need to get you to the next level that you prefer or are trying to get to, right? All of this is to align you to your destined location, where you want to go. And as you progress further and further, you're going to recognize that where you desire to go is exactly where spirit desires you to go. Because what I'm also picking up on in your reading is that you're the type of person that says, I want whatever God wants for me. And I also recognize that energy, because guys, I used to be the same way. God, whatever you want, whatever you want. And God's sitting there like, bro, I'm waiting for you to figure out what you want. It's your life. What do you want? Tell me. And then let's figure out how to align what I've put you here to do with what you desire. But your worthiness is connected to the fact that you put others above yourself. You don't see yourself as being crowned or jeweled or prized. You know, they're telling me the Bible verse on the virtuous woman, and, you know, how her beauty, internal beauty, is far greater than rubies. And it may say pearls, but they're telling me pearls right now. So for you, your value has come from what you've been able to pour out rather than what you've been able to pour in. And I think that's transformational in itself, because your true worthiness and value is in you. No one else is going to give it to you, but also there's no one else that has it. You're one of one. You're a unique, very, you know, what's the word that they're telling me, they're showing me the clay. Okay, you know, God is the potter and you are the clay. You've been molded and specifically created to be the person that you are. It's intricately like knitted together, right? Like spirit intentionally gave you all of the attributes that you have. And I think that in itself is something that we as humans tend to take for granted. And yes, you can say, well, everybody is special in their own ways. Yeah, they are. But there's only one you. There's only one you. We can't recreate you, duplicate you, you know, mimic you. We can't. It's because there's no one that's like you. And that uniqueness is what gives you the identity of worthiness, is just by you being yourself. I think you may compare yourself, and when I say compare, it's not like, oh, I wish I had this. No, it's not that I'm picking up on. It's a comparison as in, I didn't do all of this or that, so, you know, like, who am I? Or like maybe, you know, beating yourself up about errors or mistakes that you've made in life. Well, if I would have done this, and that, then I would be worthy. And it's like your guides and your ancestors are screaming, and they're saying your worthiness is not validated by anything other than your unique fingerprint. Okay, so they're showing me how we all have fingerprints. Just take your thumb. Your thumbprint is just your thumbprint. Nobody else in this whole entire world will have that thumbprint. But your specific thumbprint is exactly why you are worthy. And they're saying that it's that simple, yet it's that complex. Because for us as humans, it's hard for us to wrap our minds around the fact that our thumbprints are magic. That me, just me, that I'm magical. And so this is going to require a lot of affirmations, a lot of remembering of who you are, okay? I love ancestors, and this is why I bring them into most messages, because they are the ones that remind you of who you are. They are the, Mufasa to Simba. Remember who you are. This is your ancestors saying, remember who you are. And if you don't know who you are, I would highly advise you to ask your ancestors, God, Spirit, whoever you want to. Ask that someone be supportive and assistive to you in being able to see who you are. Because when you see yourself through that lens of just this thumbprint here being enough to make me worthy, that's how you alchemize anything that comes your way. But it all starts in your belly. They're showing me the divine feminine energy of your urinary tract, and how there's such an intricate design, to your ureters, and how they work together with your kidneys in order to assist your bladder in releasing and voiding. And so there's something for you, pile number 3, that they're asking you to void out. If you have a menstrual cycle, they're saying that with your menstrual cycle, allow your menstrual cycle to cleanse you. They're also bringing to my attention yoni steaming. So I'm not sure if you are aware of that or if you've ever done that before, but that may be something to assist and support you. There's something in your womb, and I'm not giving any medical advice because I don't have any to give. I'm not a physician, but spiritual advice for you from your ancestors would be to support your womb. Your womb health is significant and important here. And I think that they're insinuating that your menstrual cycle, when you void, when you urinate, when you pee, whatever you want to call it, that those things can be spiritual practices for you if you take into account that those experiences are here to support the release of toxic energies. And so a part of this unhealthy attachment of not putting yourself first comes with the need to release the identity of unworthiness. And so, forgive me guys, whenever I'm channeling, my nose just starts going crazy, so I just need to work with it. But they're giving me messages in regards to you voiding out, cleansing your womb, metaphorically, spiritually, just cleansing your womb, in order for you to be able to purify the energy of unworthiness. They're saying that there's something that I've never heard of this before. It's very interesting. They're saying something in regards to trapped energy occurring in women who have challenges with unworthiness. They're saying that we tend to have more like menstrual cramps. That's interesting. I've never heard of that before, but it must be the case, and it would make perfect sense, right? If you have a blockage in your body, I would assume that you would cramp more, that you may even have some, heavy bleeding, things like that. And it's because we carry these things in our wombs. You know what? I've never heard of that. I'm going to look into womb care. So that may be something beneficial for you. I don't know. I haven't, like I said, I don't know anything about it, but I don't want to give you any advice. And they're not telling me to give you any advice on anything in particular. They're just saying that you could find womb healing beneficial to you. If there's an African womb healer, that may be even more beneficial to you. They're also speaking about herbs that may be beneficial to you. Cottontail? Hold on, I gotta look this up because I'm hearing stuff. So when I hear stuff, I gotta look it up. If I don't know, I just want to just find out for us. Okay, cottontail herb. Herbal supplement. Let's see. Oh, cottontail, horsetail. Okay. Oh, wow, guys. Okay, so I guess I don't know if they call cottontail horsetail or something, but it came up, and it came up as horsetail. And look at Google. Google says that it's used to support skin, hair, nail, and bone health. And then also, it's often marketed for its potential diuretic and anti inflammatory properties. Wow, so horsetail. It is often used for urinary tract support and is a diuretic to help reduce fluid retention. Okay, so no medical advice given here because your girl doesn't know, but I trust my guides, and when they tell me something, it's for a reason. So let's see. I want to just see. Let's see. Yeah, this is crazy. This says it's a nutrient dense herb often used in herbal medicine to support female health, particularly regarding urinary, bone, and skin health issues due to high silica. Okay, now let's just humor us and let's look up what silica does in the body. Okay, sorry guys if you're not, curious about this. You can bypass this, but um oh, it helps with aging skin and decreased bone. Okay. Collagen production. Hmm. Okay. Anyways, you can feel free to look it up if you want to. I'm sorry for taking so long to look that up. I'm like a researcher, and I just, if I hear something like that, I'm like, I gotta go. And I also love herbs and stuff like that. So, anyways, horsetail may be, I don't know why I heard cottontail, but they knew that that was going to get me there. But horsetail may be beneficial to you. Also, there's something coming through here in regards to concoctions. They're speaking a lot about herbal teas. So you may find these teas. Do your research, talk to your physician before you take any of these, especially if you have any health concerns. But definitely look into some herbal remedies to help with your feminine womb. And then they did give a few suggestions. So let's just keep going. I don't like to get into like any type of, I'm not trying to give any like medical advice ever. So I don't want to get into any of that, but I do, and I will always be obedient. When they tell me something, I'm going to say it, and I trust them. I know that they've never failed me. So I've been doing tarot for a long time at this point. So, all right, let's see. Oh, okay. So you have the falcon here. I love this. Power, efficiency, and movement. Wow. Love this. Okay. I'm going to just get a couple of cards for you, and then we will carry on. Okay. Clearly you two want to stay. So I think you may have some energy of being very like hard on yourself. I am picking up on that for sure. Okay. I think that you are hard on yourself because you have these expectations or hopes that you would, like, it's like you set these expectations that you would be and do something, okay? And if those things don't happen, I think you can beat yourself up. So let's talk about this first card here, the Falcon. And I think that what that's done, let me just state this point first. What that's done, and this is just what they're showing me, is that over time, it's almost like it's depleted you of your energy and zeal, the vibrancy that's needed to be able to pour into you. I'm like, how can I explain this? But it's the vibrancy that's within you that is necessary to believe enough in yourself to pour back into yourself. Vitality is what I'm hearing. It's almost like that's been ripped from you over the years by you pouring so much out of you. So it's almost like they're showing this, and I'm picking up on this with the falcon. Interestingly, I've never seen this like this, but they're showing with the falcon here that, you know, when the falcon sees something like prey, when it's hunting, it is absolutely going to get that prey. So if it sees something, it recognizes it, it's going to target it, it's going to go after it, and it's not going to miss. Okay? Falcons do not miss. They are all about power, efficiency, and they're quick with their movement. And so it's almost like your team is saying that they want you to start to do this in regards to pouring into yourself. They're showing it as when you decide that you are going to do something for you, they need you to do it with power, efficiency, and then action. Move after that. Don't stall or try to put off on anything that comes with, you know, pouring into you, because they're saying what happens is when you do that, when you put it off, then you completely forget about it altogether, and then that prevents you from actually being able to pour into you. So like I said earlier, it's like you put it on the back burner, and they're advising you to not do that, but to instead have the energy of a falcon that sees its target, goes after it, and ensures that it hits the head on the nail the very first time. And I know this because I had a falcon that would come in front of my house every single year for years, and he would hunt pigeons, and those pigeons would be dead in my driveway all the time, you know. So it's like the falcon never missed. So you have to make it a priority to never miss an opportunity to pour into yourself. And if you need assistance with that, you have this here: call on divine support. You have angels, angelic hosts, you have ancestors, you have guides who are here to assist and support you on this journey. And then also too, I was going to say, I saw this protection. This is angels protecting you, your ancestors protecting you. You are seen in the spirit realm as one that needs to be covered. Like they're showing this as like a sacred, you know, like statue that's been set apart and protected from, you know, harm and disruption. And the things that you've endured have not been as hard or challenging as they could have been because of this divine protection. But what they're asking you to do is to keep in mind that in order for you to be safe, there's a need to release. This is interesting to this release, because this is exactly what they were showing me in this card, is that there is energy within you that needs to be released due to like stagnancy and a lack of you caring for yourself. So it's almost like, imagine that you have I don't know, I don't want to use like a human or an animal. Okay, let's use a plant. Imagine you have a plant that you left at home for 6 months while you went out of the country. And you come back home and you're like, oh my God, I got to get this together, right? Well, more than likely that plant is suffering and has been suffering, you know, because it's used to you watering it once a week. Now it hasn't been watered in 6 months. And so now that plant needs some tending to. And the plant is, imagine that the roots have just been completely stuck together, right? Like there's no airflow, all the soil, because it's just dried up. You're going to need to release some of that tension because it hasn't been tended to, it hasn't been nurtured, it hasn't been watered enough to soften it. So what happens is it kind of becomes calloused and hard. And that may be what you're experiencing in life right now, is maybe a little calloused, maybe a little hardness, and specifically around your heart chakra. This also may be present in your sacral chakra, which is why I think they want you to work on the womb. You know, your heart chakra, we all know what the heart chakra is, and it's pretty self-explanatory, right? But the sacral chakra is your ability to create, to have passion in life. And even, you know, sexual energy is the sacral chakra. And you could be lacking pleasure in life in general due to a blockage in that area in the sacral chakra, and it is deeply connected to your heart chakra because over the years you've poured out so much but you haven't poured in enough. So there's like an imbalance in your tank of your body, right? I guess that's the easiest way to explain it. But you are on the right track because you are being encouraged to begin to find ways to pour into yourself. Oh my gosh, guys, this is so on point. Okay, so here you have the strength card with Leo, I create. It's your time to shine. You know, I love this Leo energy coming up because this Leo energy is actually directly connected to the sacral chakra, which they were just speaking about. But not only that, Leo energy is all about making yourself the love of your life. You know, Leo energy in tarot would be like the sun card. And it's almost like your team is asking you to illuminate the joy within you, to find the joy within you, to reestablish the joy within yourself, to find something within you that is exciting and worthy to shine through. Find something within you that is capable of being seen just like through your own lens, okay? Not looking for anything external, but everything coming from within you. What is it? What part of you is worthy of being seen? And what's happening is through this transition, and you're going to recognize this more and more, is that this light is going to shine through you. Now, I love the Christ light because a lot of times I think one thing we don't look at when we look at Christ, when we look at Jesus, is the fact that he loved himself. He knew who he was, and nobody was going to tell him that he wasn't, right? Nobody. What did he tell the one guy? He said, you only have the power that I give to you, because he knew who he was. And so this came from his heart. He was directly connected to God, directly connected to spirit, and he recognized that his strength, his power, strength, the Leo, right? His strength, his power came from God above, his Father. And so there's something within you, and you're more than likely somehow connected to Christ and Jesus. You probably grew up in church, or you have some type of historical connection to Christ. And so that's why this card is coming out, because it's like, girl, come on. Do you know who you are? If you're made in his image, let's get it together and be his image. You know, your ancestors are like, come on. Ascend beyond the limitations, because this worthiness energy is really preventing you from being able to experience these faded opportunities that your team wants to give to you. And oh my gosh, let me tell you, these opportunities are amazing. What they're doing is trying to get you to a space to where you have complete transparency in the way that you see yourself. And that's going to require some level of strength, because you're going to have courage to face yourself. Some of you are even challenged by looking yourselves in the mirror. Challenged by looking in the mirror and saying, you know what? Yeah, I could lose a little weight. Yeah, I could probably tend to straighten my teeth out a little bit. Like maybe I could stand to do that. Yeah, I could grow my hair a little longer. Maybe my hair's not as full or as thick as I want it to be. Yeah, my skin is pale. Or yeah, my skin is, ashy. Whatever. You may be looking at yourself in the mirror thinking that. But if you look a little deeper beyond the superficial and you see your soul, that's where the magic lies, pile number 3. That's where the Fates card is shining through in you. There is this star quality, this star energy about you. There's something very just sweet about your energy, your presence, and you're overlooking it. You're overlooking it because you're too busy worrying about everyone else. And as women, this is very challenging for us. I don't know about men because I'm not one, but I will say if you're a man watching this, this is within you. And you are being asked to tap more into that feminine energy of finding the beauty within. Bypass the energy of the masculine and instead find the energy of the feminine who is able to receive. Because that's what this is about. This is about you being able to see beyond acting, doing, showing up for others, and instead making this about you. Finding with power and efficiency the beauty that lies within you. And when you feel like you can't, when you can't look in the mirror and see beyond the limitations of the external, because that's all they are, is their limitations. The external, it has nothing to do, contrary to what we are taught by society. Your external has nothing to do with who you truly are. It may be a reflection of who you are. It's a reflection of the way that you care about yourself, the way that you love yourself, but it is not the definition of who you are. And that's what I mean. Obviously, if we don't take care of our external bodies, we're showing how much we care about our internal bodies, right? But those are things that can be overcome. What's more important is that your soul is right, that you allow yourself to be a human, that you love yourself, that you care for yourself, that you tend to yourself, that you nurture yourself, that you allow yourself to be seen, and that you don't allow others to be placed before you thinking that you're insignificant. I'm being told to get 2 tarot cards, so let's do this and this. Wow, powerful cards. Wow. You're going to have to defend and guard yourself in this new phase and in this releasing of this unhealthy attachment. Because the releasing this unhealthy attachment is going to bring on conflict from others who are used to benefiting off of you, doing everything for them, or operating and standing in spaces that they are too lazy or insecure to place themselves in. So what happens is when you tend to take care of other people and you decide that you want to do something different in your life, they are offended. And that's another reason why your team is saying, as you release these negative energies, internal and external, you are protected in moving forward. But a part of your ascension is for you to purify your energy of the need to find your worthiness in others. This is what's fated for you, pile number 3. It's fated for you to step into your Empress energy of receiving love from within. And for some of you, as you receive from within, you will receive from outside of you as well. Because you'll be aligned with people who are actually present for the real you. The people who are utilizing and using you with this 5 of Wands energy, the external energies that are benefiting off of your unworthiness, they're not meant to stay. They're going to be ticked off. But they're going to be ticked off because you're no longer feeding them. Not feeding them, actually feeding them. You could be. But you're not feeding their insecurities. Because when we have trauma bonds with people, trauma bonds are not just romantic bonds. It could be any bond with anybody. But when we have trauma bonds, we tend to bond and connect with people who feed our wounds. The more you see yourself as being worthy, the less you're going to need them to make you feel worthy. And then in turn, you're not going to feed their unworthiness. And that's going to create conflict. But as you pour into yourself and see yourself as being worthy, you're going to recognize that you will begin to reap physical rewards. Okay, this is money, this is stability, this is longevity in your careers, this is being noticed and recognized in your careers, promotions, being able to receive job offers, stability in your home. The King of Pentacles represents anything tangible. Okay, so you can look at it as like Virgo energy, Taurus energy, Capricorn energy. This is energy of having financial stability, being successful in your career and your endeavors, and also being able to have a solid foundation at home. Okay, this is all about security, safety. For some of you, as you find your value and worthiness, you're going to recognize that your creative opportunities will begin to come through, especially with this Leo energy here, and you'll be able to create your own businesses. A lot of you I'm seeing as entrepreneurs, owning your own stuff, creating your own schedules. And this is all based on the value that you give yourself. So it's almost like, you put in the coin machine, those claw machines. Let's use that as an example. The claw machine. The amount of money that you pay for the claw machine determines what type of toy you get out of it. So you could go to an arcade and they could have 2 claw machines. One of them you could receive maybe a little ball that has like a toy ring in it, and then another machine has like a basketball in it, where you're going to pay more for that basketball than that little toy ring. But whatever you put in is what you get out. And your team is telling you, pile number 3, that that's the same thing with you. However much energy you're willing to pour into loving on yourself, that's exactly what you're going to get back in return. And this is so interesting. They've never shown me this like this, but they're saying that this is also a key to manifesting. If you want to manifest the life that you desire, it all starts with what you're willing to pour into yourself. Wow. This is powerful. Your energy is powerful. This 5D heart activation is what's happening as you pour into yourself. And as you pour into yourself, your heart will begin to open, and that sacral chakra. And again, I'm seeing business opportunities come out of this. Financial opportunities come out of what you're willing to pour into yourself. Wow. This unhealthy attachment for you, I think we made it clear several times, but I'm just going to recap just in case someone missed it, is your inability to see the worthiness that you have within you. Okay, pile number 3. Let's read your guidebook card here. This is the African Goddess Rising Oracle Guidebook. Guys, this is a powerful reading. I've never seen some of the stuff that was shown today. Forgive me for taking time to look up that horsetail, cottontail, or whatever, but I just wanted to look at it. Okay, if you'd like to take a screenshot, feel free to do so, and I'm going to mispronounce things, so forgive me in advance. Atete, goddess of worthiness. Aroma, Ethiopia. Ooh, beautiful. The temple is the warriors, and the element is the bush. Great goddess Atete, Queen of the gods, is a fierce protector of women and girls for the Oromo people of Ethiopia. The guidance is stop hiding, shrinking, and playing small. Stand tall like the majestic sycamore tree. You are mighty. Life does not need to be perfect for you to embrace your own perfection. The embodiment is you matter. Worthiness is your veins. Wow. You matter, pile number 3. And worthiness is your veins. Accept yourself now. Your birth certificate says that we need your overflowing magic, joy, and vulnerability. And most importantly, we need you. Yes, pile number 3. You are deserving and worthy. The beautiful parts of you that everyone likes are worth loving. The parts that you or others dislike are worth loving too. Yes. Your Creator loves you unconditionally. The declaration is, I matter. Wow, this is powerful. I love this. This is amazing, pile number 3. I want to just sit in this energy. I may go and do my own little yoni steam or something right now. It just sounds so appropriate. All right, guys, if you haven't already, please do like, comment, and subscribe. I thank you so much for being present and your beautiful, lovely energy that you have. I'm going to be hoping and praying that you see yourself in the way that I'm seeing you, that your ancestors see you, and that spirit sees you. May you be blessed abundantly in all of your endeavors. Have a fantastic evening, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Hi, pile number 4. If you chose the Sekhmet energy with the wounded healer, this is your reading. Whoo, guys. So, this is going to be heavy. Let me just start off by saying that. I will caution you that if you haven't watched any of my previous readings, my messages come across from our guides very direct, very straightforward. It often feels like my readings are for those who are leaders and healers and who are open to just hearing messages very direct, straightforward, and desiring to really sincerely shift the energy. You guys are the alchemist, you're the master manifestors, you are the guides for this next phase in this new world that we are living in and that is being currently demolished and reestablished. Okay, so just know that. I want to start off with that, and your guides are giving me the notion to start that way so that you're fully aware of the information being brought to you from a space of love. But not only that, this is because your purpose is bigger than you. You're not here just to serve yourself. And they immediately, this is the first pile where they actually just told me flat out what your unhealthy attachment was that needs to be released in order for you to experience the life that you desire. Because that's what this reading is about. It's not about an unhealthy attachment that needs to be released to support someone else. This reading is about you. And I think that the energy that I've been picking up on through just channeled messages they were giving me and the energy of you feels like you're someone who likes to give, maybe more than receive, but also you're one who has already overgiven, and it feels as if your spirit doesn't really feel like it has the energy to give more. Like you may not be willing to take a risk on love again. You may not be willing to consider opening yourself up and being vulnerable to new relationships in any capacity, right? That could be just a friendship. It could be, getting to know your coworkers. You may feel very guarded, or you may be very guarded based on your experiences in the past. The one thing that is being brought to my attention immediately is how divinely protected you are by your team. Your energy is sacred. It's not that you're like I hate to put people on platforms or pedestals and make it like, oh, this person is better than this person, and that's, to me, not necessarily the truth, but it is the truth. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. We're all the same as humans, but there are certain individuals that have been chose for a purpose that is very distinct, unique, and it's not something that 90% of the population wasn't called for that. They weren't created for that purpose. But there's something in your energy that's meant to be transmuted so that you can support a larger group. Now, this larger group could be a larger group at your local church, at your local community center, in your household, in your family, but you have energy of a leader, a very spiritual, powerful leader, and one who is supposed to alchemize the energy of wounds. So right off the bat, again, your team told me exactly what your unhealthy attachment is, and it's an unhealthy attachment to the wounds that are supposed to be healed, specifically around your heart space. So they had me use this stone, which I believe this is like a petrified wood, which would support and assist you in grounding yourself to feel safe and secure. They're showing me the root chakra right now, which would be your base chakra. And this chakra is the chakra that helps you when it's stable, it supports you in feeling like you are safe, stable, secure, grounded, protected. It removes the guards that we put up due to the pains that we've experienced in the past. And there's a wound that you've been carrying which is the unhealthy attachment. It may be more than one, but you'll know if this one wound bleeds into other areas. So I'm going to speak about the one wound that they're bringing to my attention, and this has to do with some type of heartache or heartbreak. Now, this could come in many forms, okay? So I'm not going to necessarily give all of the ways, because they're not giving me, all the examples that this could pertain to. But what they are telling me specifically is it has to do with some type of heartache surrounding grief. Grief in releasing people, things, situations that are no longer in your life. This could be someone passing away, transitioning. This could be a relationship that you feel you were, robbed of. This could be a connection to a sibling or a loss of a parent. It could be anything. You could think of 1,000 different things that this could connect to, but specifically for you, there's something that is unhealthy, a wound that is unhealthy for you to continue to be attached to. Now, what they're showing me is, and they were telling me this earlier, is that you've already separated from this energy. So whatever that means, whether the person has passed away or someone has left your life, you've already separated from the energy. However, you've already separated from the person, okay? But the energy is still lingering. You are very, very, very challenged by the whys. And those whys are keeping you attached to the pain, which is why this is unhealthy. What they were showing me was that you're not supposed to, and I thought this was interesting that they had me do this, the petrified wood, specifically in that location, but it's to cover up her boobs because they were showing. But it's interesting that they had me use a piece of, like a crystal with a piece of tape. I've never even had that thought or idea before, but it just came to me, and then they were like, this is a part of it. See, things that are meant to that you're meant to unstick from, this tape should technically be removed because the originality of this card does not have this tape and this stone attached to it. So in your original state, you do not have this pain that is attached to you. But because this pain has been attached to you, it has become your identity, and you've shapeshifted into someone else. They're asking you to return to your original state. And so what that would mean would be that you detach from this completely. So it would be this, the removal of the unhealthy attachment. They also were showing me that this tape and this stone are actually weighing this card down. So if I drop it, obviously due to gravity, this, stone's going to pull it down. But also if I have the card in this position, it's going to fall forward because the weight of this stone is so heavy. And they're saying that for you, the weight of this energy is so heavy that you have to detach from it in order for you to be who you were created to be. Now, you were created to be the wounded healer, but they were showing me that the healer is wounded. And the healer is wounded because the healer has done the work. You've put in the work. You've cried your eyes out. You've read books. You've watched tarot readings, maybe even doing your own tarot readings. You're doing all this work and you're like, why can't I get rid of this? Because for some of you, this is a nuisance. You're like, I don't want this to even be attached to me. But the energy of it is where the attachment comes from. So what they're saying is that it may not even be that there's a specific person that you have some attachment to. So it comes, this is hard to explain. It comes through a specific person, but you don't want anything to do with that person if you've detached from them. If they've transitioned, you want to be able to feel free and accept the fact that they have transitioned. But it's not the person that keeps you stuck. It's the identity that you attached to that person. So for example, say that your mother passed away. God forbid, but unfortunately this does happen. If your mother passed away, I'm so sorry that that's happened, because godly, you're such a brave soul for even being here. Let me just tell you. If your mother passed away, and again, this is just an example. Let's use another example, because that just feels like my heart is just like so heavy, and even like speaking to that. And so for someone that is your situation and the weight of that is so heavy, I can feel it in my tangible body. And I'm, again, so sorry that that has happened. What I can tell you is that your team is adamant on the fact that that happened for a reason. So let's use the example of someone leaving your life. Okay. And however this person leaves your life, say someone leaves your life, you feel pain and wounded by the fact that this person is no longer here, no longer in your life. But this person left your life, and the attachment is not necessarily to that specific person. The attachment is to the energy that you were connected to with that person. So say, for example, you had an unhealthy relationship with someone, you guys decided to split, however that happened. Now you're suffering in moments of your life because you feel the detachment taking place, right? You feel like, oh my God, I've been trying to heal from this and I can't seem to escape it. You're thinking it's the person. You're like, I don't want them back. I'm not interested. I've moved on. Like, no, thank you. But it's not that actual person that's the unhealthy attachment. Because you're not actually attached to that person. You're attached to the energy that you believe that person would bring. So, for example, if you trauma bond with someone, you find something fascinating about this person. So typically how this happens is you meet someone and you're like, oh my God, I've never met anybody like them. But what ends up happening is that there's toxicity in the relationship. There's something about the person that's toxic, whether it be that you just can't fully trust them, you don't fully feel safe with them, you feel like you have to question them, you're wondering if they're telling you the truth. Any of that is toxic. So if you have any of that going on with someone, say but you think like, God, I'm so like deeply connected to them. I've never felt this type of connection to someone. Well, now you have a trauma bond with someone because you're bonding over maybe a desire to be desired, wanted, validated. More than likely, it's the idea of arguing with someone and thinking that love is painful. And in order for me to have a healthy relationship, I have to go through hell to get there. And it's not to negate the fact that, you have to go through challenges in relationships, but it doesn't have to feel like hell. It doesn't have to feel like that, especially when there's willing parties who are truthful and honest with one another and who are able to be adults in their communication. So what happens is, back to this storyline, you end up connecting and bonding with this person, and now you've attached yourself to them. You create this trauma bond where it feels like we don't even know what to do without each other. So go on, 2 years later, you find out that this person has been lying. You're like, oh my gosh, I have to leave them. You decide that you're going to leave. They decide they're going to leave, whatever. They choose someone else over you, whatever your storyline is. And then you're like, oh, but wait a second. We were supposed to have this amazing life together. Well, now you've trauma bonded with them. So now you're seeing them through a lens that actually is a false identity. It's a false narrative that you've attached to that individual. That's the unhealthy attachment. They're showing me this imposter syndrome. Okay, so you can look that up to see what that means. But basically what happens is you want to validate okay, there's a victim and there's a perpetrator, right? So it's like you want to, because you have so much faith in the perpetrator, you make yourself the perpetrator and then them the victim. Okay, if that makes sense. It's more so like you take on the manipulation that they've given you to believe that they're somebody that they're not, or the story that you told yourself, because oftentimes it's not necessarily the other person that's trying to convince us that there's a certain way. It's us, especially as women. We tend to just let men we create our own stories of who we want them to be, and we just let them just be whoever that is. And they're showing us all along who they are, but we don't want to believe it, because in our minds we are like, no, they have to be better than that, because there's no way that people are like that. So it's that type of energy. And I'm sure if you're watching this reading, you get what I'm saying. I'm like trying to figure out how to explain it through all of the scenarios and things that they're throwing at me. But the bottom line is that there's an unhealthy attachment to the energy of that person, and it's not actually the person. But the unhealthy attachment is present because this is something that you're supposed to be healing within yourself. And then from there, you'll be able to support others in being able to heal that energy. But it's first going to start with you, because you're basically the initiation of your gifts. So for anybody who has any gifts, the initiation and activation of your gifts typically will start with you. Like, are you able to actually do this? So for you, your team is saying, can you actually fully and completely detach from this? And it does seem like it's hell. And trust me, I know a lot about this. I want to say I know all about it, but I don't think I know all about anything. But I know a lot about this, and it has a lot to do with the fact that we want to believe the best and hope for the best in others, right? Like, look at this here. Be generous. Like, you definitely overgave to this person in some way, and or they overgave to you. And so the lack of that energy leaves you in this state of feeling disconnected. It makes you feel as if you are, because this work together is confirming what I'm feeling. It feels like an energy of someone who thinks that they're insignificant apart from that person. That also goes along with that imposter syndrome, because what happens with imposter syndrome is that the person who's actually the problem is kind of like glorified. Okay, like the person becomes this like, oh well, they're not that bad, and it's like, but they did all this stuff to you, so like, what makes you think that they're good? And trust me, I had a hard time with this. And this can show up, this work together energy can show up where it's like, you just want peace. You just want to be able to work with this person. You just want it to be able to have an opportunity to be able to do things with them. But this card is showing here that in order for you to work together, there has to be stability, and there also has to be an agreement that we all have the same mission here to accomplish. And a part of you being a wounded healer, or the healer that is currently wounded, after this detachment, you will become the wounded healer, the one who heals the wounds. You have to first align with people that are actually working for and towards the same mission, the same goal, right? You have to have the same purpose. And I think one thing that you may have misled yourself in believing is that this person, this individual, was on the same page as you. Okay. And then there's also something about maybe desiring to have the opportunity to work with people. And if someone has transitioned, obviously that's going to be devastating that you don't have the ability to work with them. But your guides are saying that there are others who will come, who will support you fully without you having to question their identity, because they're showing me something about like an identity crisis in this card here. They're showing me in this work together card, there's an identity crisis in maybe the person that this energy is attached to. And you see this release, wow, and initiation with the cave there. Okay, yeah, so the person that this energy, the energy that this person was attached to or initiated with, it doesn't seem like they were able to bear fruit alongside you. And that's interesting because they just had me do a reading the other day, and it was something about like your abundance or your prosperity wasn't safe with this person. That's how this energy feels. Is like the blessing of you, the gift of you, the places that God wants to take you, you have to be sheltered and protected because your energy is one that is meant to provide support to others. It's like you have to learn how to tend to your own garden and to nurture your garden, to keep your garden safe. So I recently started a garden, and the thing that I do every single day when I wake up is I go and I look to see what's sprouting. And in the sprouting, I'm looking to see if there's something that needs to be tended to. Do I need to adapt something? Does the temperature need to change? Do I need to, lower the light? Do I need to move them around? Do I need to switch places? Does maybe one vegetable need more lighting than the others? What should I be doing to adapt to this new environment that I've placed them in? And that's coming through powerfully for you because your team is also inviting you to be attentive to the environments that you allow yourself to operate in. And you may need to temper the energy. You may need to remove yourself. You may need to go and hide for shelter. The energy connected to this person, if it's a romantic partnership, has been intense. This fire intensity energy is showing up as you may have had a ton of passion. Maybe a ton of exploration was done with this person. Exploration into just maybe getting to know yourself a little better. But also, I think your chemistry was intense. However, they're saying that a fire can only go so long before it burns everything up. And so the fire in this relationship could have been simply what it was, the fire. And the intensity of it could have continued to build and progress, only for you to acknowledge that it was burning up your crops instead of building, growing, and allowing more to propagate. There's an ask for you to release this energy in order for you to be set free. They're also speaking to the fact that if this energy stays around, it is bound to burn you, metaphorically. Because it's almost like this energy, they're showing me like the Knight of Wands. It feels like this energy is an energy that is present only to disrupt your ability to collaborate with the right group. Okay, it feels like a very disruptive energy. Like it may be a fire sign, Aries, Leo, or Sag. I have to be honest here, because it does feel like energy of someone who kind of just wants to just carry on and do whatever they want to do. Maybe this person left you and they went to go be with somebody else very quickly. That's coming through too. And if that's the case, this is fantastic for you. It seems like it's the pits, but trust me, it's happened to me before. It's fantastic because it's allowing you the opportunity to depart from them. Okay? It's almost like your team is making this easier for you. But you may be looking at it through the lens that something is hidden. Like maybe you think there's something underneath the surface. Like maybe you're looking at yourself, because that's how I feel. It feels to me like you're looking at yourself as if you're the problem, and not recognizing that the identity that you attach to this person, that's the problem. It's not you. You're not the problem. It's this person. And this person is attached to this, yeah, for sure, this Emperor energy. Let me get two more. Oh, that was two. Okay. Okay, we got a lot going on here. The World. The World is at the bottom of the deck. Yeah, this is about you being able to close out cycles. Learning, okay, this is a big part of this, guys, pile number 4. A big part of this is you learning that life is about cycles. That not everything in your life is meant to stay. Wow. You got the call. I hope you guys can see all these cards. I don't think you can. Ooh, Wow. 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 This person may have been a husband. This feels like this energy. I'm going to try to move these around so that you can see them. This feels like a husband that was selfish, a little self-seeking, one who had their own plan. Sorry for just swinging that like that. But it feels like someone who wanted to do what they wanted to do and maybe took advantage of the blessing of you. Because we have the messenger of fire, which is a little different than the page of fire, but it's literally a message. The 8 of wands is underneath, the 6 of swords, the 10 of swords, the king of pentacles, the 3 of swords, the emperor, the devil is temptation, the ace of swords, the call card, which is an extra card in this deck here. And then we have the 2 of pentacles and the 3 of cups. See, this is where I think you just wanted to, this goes back to what was coming through earlier, where you just want peace in this connection. If this person is still here, or if they've departed from us, transitioned, you just wanted peace in this situation. Maybe you wanted a last conversation with this person to be able to clear the air. You may have also desired that this person stepped up to the plate and operated from a space of self-control, because this does feel like someone who was incapable of, standing in their empowerment. This feels like someone who was unstable and unsteady and led astray by their own maybe selfish desires is what's coming through. I think that this person absolutely probably involved a third party here, because I'm seeing 3 birds here, and it feels more like family and maybe another energy, but that energy could be work, it could be anything, school, it could be children, it could be siblings, it could be anything, friends. But this person was very focused on themselves and their desire to build themselves up. Sometimes that King of Pentacles energy can show itself as one who is self-seeking, stubborn, and only desiring to do what they want to do. And I think this person really broke your heart. Not I think, but I know. And it was a very painful, painful, painful ending. And I think you've questioned why this had to happen this way. Why did this happen this way? Why did it happen so abruptly, so quickly? Why did I have to close this cycle out? What happened? I thought we were going to get back together. I thought that we were going to be able to bond again. But with the 3 of swords here, the 10 of swords, the devil card, the 2 of pentacles, this absolutely feels like an energy, especially with the emperor and the king of pentacles here. This feels like an energy, guys, of someone who you were trauma bonded with. Maybe you met them at a young age and grew up together or grew older together. But I think this person had a lot of pride and a lot of ego that you had to combat. I also think that they were probably very attractive and probably had a lot of other, suitors or whatever you want to call them. I will tell you that I am picking up on an energy of someone who's in regret for their actions, but they're not going to tell you. They're way too stubborn. The emperor, the king of pentacles, 3 of swords, and the devil, this is someone who they're absolutely not going to say anything to you about their actions. And I would even go as far as to say, I don't think that this person will tell you the truth. And that's why the Ace of Swords and the call card is here, because your team is saying this is for you to answer the call. What they were showing me is that the treasures are you. You are the treasure, but you don't recognize that. And so sometimes what happens is our ancestors have to use situations that involve this 3 of swords, that heartache and pain, heartbreak, right? They have to use those situations to get us to recognize and wake up to notice what we really want in life. And this Ace of Swords with the call, is simply asking, do you want to continue to suffer? The Ten of Swords is the energy of someone who has been backstabbed, lied to, and depleted of their own ability to push forward. It's exhaustion. It's mental exhaustion. It's exhaustion to where you feel like there's walls caving in on you, where you just feel like you're being crushed. And it's like the only way out is this way, right? It's to the point to where even if you haven't left a situation, you're like, you don't have any options. You got to go out. And I think you have a desire to want to figure out how to communicate, collaborate, and make this work. This could be a friendship that you have with someone where this person just probably hasn't been very honest with you in regards to who they are. I think this person painted a picture of them being an emperor or a king of pentacles. They may also have financial stability, and they may be offering you love through means of financial stability, but they actually are very much into their own rule and authority. It kind of gives me the vibes of like a, is it misogynistic, like masculine energy? This could be a female too. It doesn't have to be, it could be a feminine energy, but it's given me the energy of like a lot of like confusion and questioning like who you are based on who this person told you that you should be. And I think a lot of times this energy is unspoken. Like you probably don't realize that it's all this going on, because this intensity, this fire energy is like screaming at me. And it's like you really don't know what's going on behind the fire. But if you allow the fire to dissipate, and that's advice for you, pile number 4, allow this energy to settle. And as this energy settles, I think you're going to see this person for who they truly are, because you have the Ace of Swords here with the call. You're going to see this person for who they truly are, but you're also going to see who you truly are. And you're going to recognize whether or not they're one who would really work with you or against you. Because they're showing me this fork in the road card here. Okay, this fork in the road is about choices. You have a choice to make. You can either choose to stay in this intense energy of the Three of Swords, Ten of Swords with the Devil, or you can choose to walk in a direction of your choosing, because that's also this Six of Swords energy. There may not be able to be balance and collaboration in the ways that you hope for, but what I keep hearing is choose peace, choose peace. And as you detach from the energy of this person, you're going to recognize that you're detaching from them. Your detachment from them comes by means of you making a choice to detach from the energy of them. Now, let me just read the energy of this person. The energy of this person is the energy of, I need you for status and stability. Okay, so you may have thought this person to be someone who was stable, safe, protective of you. You may have deemed this energy to be love by means of pain. If I don't suffer, it's not real. Love does hurt. You may have considered this person to be a friend. You may also have invested a lot of time into this relationship. I'm picking up on that as well. And if you've invested a lot of time in this relationship, it's hard to consider closing out, these cycles, which also they were showing me this in the World card. The World is representative of karmic cycles. And so the key to unlocking your best life, your future, is by you recognizing this energy when it shows up in your life. This energy is an energy of one who kind of comes in, sweeps you off your feet, says all the right things with their words, but no actions, because that's the energy that I'm picking up here. So are you attentive to people's actions or just their words? Because that's the energy that you're being guided to look out for. Look out for people's words. Pay attention to their actions. And that's how you'll assess whether or not someone's willing to actually collaborate with you, or whether or not they're this intense fire that's going to burn out. I hope this is making sense, pile number 4. I'm going to just get 1 or 2 of these because I'm like, this just seems like a lot. I hope it makes sense, but I am hearing to pick up your crown, like put your crown back on. This person disrupted your energy and stole your crown. I think that this person, they're showing me the imposter syndrome again. I think that this person is, you're not going to believe this. Let me just show you though. I think that this person stole your crown because you gave your power away to them. This is at the bottom of the deck. I think that you gave your power away to them because you didn't recognize that you are the power source. You're the outlet. They're the power that gets plugged into the outlet. So they've been plugging into you for healing, for, you know, I want to say revival because that's the word that's coming to me, but they've been plugging into you for treasures. You're the treasure, but they've somehow been able to manipulate you into believing that you're instead the villain. You're the problem, especially with this Neptune energy, the Hangman. That can be energy of delusion. I'm a Pisces, so trust me, I know, guys. And it's the energy of, you know, really like deceiving yourself into believing that someone is something that they're actually not. And for you, I keep hearing too, like, time will tell. If you haven't already seen this energy be displayed, you're already questioning it, especially if you're watching this reading. But you're the wounded healer, okay? So this is about you transforming that inner trauma, those struggles that you're having, into wisdom and insight that will assist you in healing others. But you first have to heal yourself. And this starts by you recognizing that this Neptunian energy of the way that you've been seeing this person is an illusion due to your desire for them to be better than you think than you actually know that they are. That's the best way to put it. Because you know who this person is. They've shown you and you believe them. But there's a part of you that just won't accept it. And that's because you're attached to the energy. Your father wound is showing its face right now too. So you could have had a father who was absent, or a father who you just didn't have an emotional relationship with. A healthy emotional attachment was missing from your relationship with your father. So he could have been present in the house, but your emotional connection to him, his ability to show you what a man should really do and how a man should really treat a woman, how a man should make a daughter and his wife feel supported and protected, the divine masculine energy, like at its finest, you didn't receive that as a child. And so you may have found comfort in men who have that like alpha male energy, but they're not actually alpha males. They're just portraying, because like a, you know, you could think of an alpha male as like a divine masculine, but a divine masculine is balanced with his feminine and masculine energy. So he's not going to try to manipulate you, lie to you, you know, try to connive you into believing that he's something that he's not. He's going to be transparent and show you exactly who he is from day one and own every part of it. He's also not going to be in a state to where he's unwilling to collaborate with you as a friend, especially if you've invested time in him, because there's going to be a recognition that I owe you the same amount of respect that I owe myself. And in addition, the individual who is truly a divine masculine is not going to operate from a space of dictatorship or authority where he has to be the boss, tell you what to do, blah, 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 blah. He's also not going to hurt you in a way that causes deep pain till you get to the Ten of Swords. Because what we forget is that in order to go from 3 swords to 10, there were 7 swords in between that. So that means that there's a ton of lies, deception, and sneaky behaviors and energies. Guys, I'm calling this out to you because this was me. You can feel insignificant all day, every day. You can be overwhelmed. You could be terrified. You can be scared to be vulnerable. But my friend, my sister, my brother, what you cannot do is stay down. This is bigger than you, pile number 4. The wounded healer first has to heal thyself. Heal yourself by releasing what no longer serves you. Begin to tend to the garden within so that you can then tend to the garden outside of you. There is a community of people that are waiting for your story, waiting for you to share this testimony of how you've been able to overcome this. I just heard there's a church full of people who are stuck and unfree, waiting for you to come by and to assist and support them in becoming free. And what they're saying is they're not talking about a church, a physical building of 4 walls. They're saying these are people. There are people all over who are stuck in this energy, and they need people like you to choose peace. Choose peace. Close this karmic cycle out once and for all. All of the security that you're looking for in this person or whatever they're offering you, because you may not be looking, what they're offering you, you will have for yourself. But it's going to require that you take a risk. It's going to require that you step out on faith. It's going to require that you take back control of your life. That you no longer hand it over, because essentially what you're doing is handing it over to the devil. But your team is calling you out. They're saying, come on, pile number 4. You're the wounded healer. Step out and allow yourself to be seen. Overcome this heartache and loss by detaching from the need to be loved, valued. Love yourself. Value yourself. See yourself. Tend to yourself. Alchemize this energy by choosing you over this other party. And allow yourself to be vulnerable, to open up, to believe, to begin to believe in love again. And the love doesn't have to be outside of you. Everything starts from within. Okay, let's read the guidebook and then we're going to close out your reading. I hope that this resonated. Drink lots of water. I'm not giving you medical advice, but as you purge energies, as you purge this intense energy, you may feel a little lightheaded. You may feel a little dizzy. Your head may begin to hurt. Your crown chakra, your third eye. You may just feel overwhelmed by the fact that you are finally detaching. But just drink water and rest, please, okay? If you feel nauseous, anything like that, rest. If you have any additional symptoms, I do recommend going to see a doctor, because I'm not a physician. I'm not giving you any medical advice. None is given here. I'm not in a practice or an ability to even offer anything like that, okay? So Sekhmet, I'm going to stop talking. Goddess of wounded healers. This is the Egyptian goddess, okay? The temple is warriors, the element is fire. Sekhmet is the fierce, ancient Egyptian goddess of war, the sun, and healing. I love it. She carries life force in her palm with the power to create or destroy. Sekhmet's guidance is heal thyself. Oh my gosh, I think I said they're intense. Okay, anyways, I'm like, that's exactly how they said it to me earlier, and I never know what's in these guidebooks. Everyone gets your best except you. Wow. You are a healer among your tribe. Stop putting your needs last. The embodiment is, when did you decide to become a martyrer? The hangman, guys. This is the martyrer. This is the martyrer energy. Oh my God. Take a breath. Wounded healers hold sadness, rage, and fears of brokenness. Being a warrior wasn't a choice for our beloved foremothers. They did the best they could, but being a goddess warrior for us is knowing that we have the choice not to fight all the time. Deep dive questions. What are your swords, the weapons you use to fight? And what are your shields, the ways you defend yourself? Wow. Dare to lay the burdens down along with your swords and shields. It is safe to put myself first. That's your declaration. Pile number 4. This was amazing. I love this. I'm here for this. I'm here for you. Feel free to, if you desire, look at some of my other readings on like the father wound. I think they could be really beneficial to you if you also agree with that. I thank you for being here. I apologize for the intense energy because you just don't know what's going to come out, guys. But I promise you, if you put yourself first, I promise you, you won't regret it. Coming from your sis who had to go through all of this, I promise you, you're going to be like, oh my God, I didn't know that I could be so free. Woo-hoo-hoo. I'm praying for you. I hope you have the most amazing night. Thanks again for being here. I hope this resonated. If it did or didn't, please feel free to let me know. I appreciate you so much. Have a good night, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Just know you're being cheered on right now. Your ancestors are saying, woohoo. They're screaming, but I can't because I don't want to do that in the mic. But you're being cheered on right now to do this. Let's overcome this, conquer, devour, alchemize this energy. You wounded healer. Let's go and heal the world. Have a good night. Bye.